You have been trying to lose this belly fat for years, and nobody has told you the real reason it is still there. Not the diet industry, not your doctor, not a single fitness video you have ever watched. Because what is keeping that fat locked around your midsection has nothing to do with how many calories you are eating or how many times you walked on a treadmill this week. It has everything to do with 5 specific daily behaviors that Japanese people practice without even thinking about them. Behaviors that work at the hormonal level, not the calorie level. And the moment you hear all 5, you are going to realize that everything you have been told about belly fat was solving the wrong problem entirely. Every pill, every meal plan, every early morning run, all of it aimed at the wrong target, and that is why nothing stuck. Stay with me until habit number 4, because that one is going to completely change how you look at the first 30 minutes after you wake up every single morning. And habit number 2 is the one no one in the Western world is talking about yet, even though Japanese women have been doing it for over 1,000 years. If you have ever felt like you are doing everything right and the belly fat just will not move, this is the video that finally explains why. And I promise you, by the end of this, you are not going to feel frustrated. You are going to feel relieved, because the answer is simpler than anything you have tried before. Before we get into the 5 habits, you need one idea that makes everything else on this list make sense. In Japan, there is a concept called mea no karada, which loosely translates to the body in balance. It is not a diet. It is not a workout philosophy. It is the idea that your body stores fat as a response to imbalance, not just excess. When your gut is disrupted, your body stores fat. When your stress hormones are chronically elevated, your body stores fat. When your core temperature never properly resets, your body stores fat. The 5 habits you are about to hear all work on that single idea. They do not restrict what you eat. They do not add more exercise to your week. They remove the imbalance that has been keeping the fat in place. And when the imbalance is gone, the fat has no reason to stay. That is the foundation. Now let us get into it. Habit number 1, Hara Hachi Bu. This is an 800-year-old Okinawan principle, and researchers who study the world's longest living populations have been writing about it for decades. Okinawa, a small island in southern Japan, has one of the highest concentrations of people who live past 100 years old anywhere on Earth. And one of the most consistent behaviors they share is this one. Hara Hachi Bu means eat until you are 80% full. Not stuffed, not satisfied, 80%. Stop before the signal arrives. Here is the part nobody tells you. Your stomach sends a fullness signal to your brain, but that signal takes roughly 20 minutes to travel. So by the time your brain registers that you are full, you have already eaten past the point your body actually needed, every single day, multiple times a day, for years. That chronic overeating, even by a small amount each meal, keeps your insulin elevated longer than it should be. And elevated insulin is the most direct signal your body has to hold on to fat and stop releasing it. Not because you ate too much sugar, not because you skipped the gym, because the signal arrived late and you kept eating through the gap. Japanese people have been instinctively closing that gap for centuries by stopping before the signal arrives. They do it so automatically that most of them do not even think of it as a rule. It is just how they eat. The fix is not complicated. Eat slower. Put your fork or your spoon down between bites. Give your body the 20 minutes it needs to catch up with your plate. When you feel 80% full, stop. That remaining 20% of space is not hunger. It is just the signal being late. Start treating it that way tonight at dinner, and your insulin response begins to normalize within days, not weeks. Days. Habit number 2, ofuro. This is the one that has been hiding in plain sight for 1,000 years, and the science behind it is extraordinary. Ofuro is the Japanese evening bath ritual, and it is not what you think it is. It is not about getting clean. That happens before you get in the tub, at a separate rinse station, always. The ofuro itself is a deep, hot soak taken 1 to 2 hours before sleep, usually between 104 and 107 degrees Fahrenheit, held for 10 to 15 minutes. Nothing more. No phone, no podcast, just the heat and the stillness. And what it does to your metabolism overnight is something the Western fitness industry has never once mentioned in any fat loss program you have ever seen. When you submerge your body in water that hot, your core temperature rises sharply. Then, when you step out, your body immediately begins to cool itself down. That rapid drop in core temperature is one of the most powerful triggers for deep sleep your body has access to. And deep sleep, specifically the slow wave stage that happens in the first half of the night, is when your body produces the majority of its overnight growth hormone. Growth hormone during sleep is your body's primary overnight fat-burning signal. It tells your fat cells to release stored energy while you are completely unconscious. It prioritizes belly fat specifically because visceral fat, the fat wrapped around your organs, responds more sensitively to growth hormone than fat stored anywhere else on your body. People who consistently get poor or shallow sleep have measurably lower overnight growth hormone levels and measurably more belly fat, not as a coincidence, as a direct consequence. The ofuro is not a luxury. It is a metabolic tool that Japanese households have been using for centuries without ever needing to label it that way. You do not need a Japanese soaking tub. You need a hot bath, 1 to 2 hours before you sleep, 10 to 15 minutes, and then bed without screens. Start that tonight. Your body will begin doing the fat-burning work while you are completely unconscious and not doing a single thing to earn it. Stay with me because we are only 2 habits in, and you have already got 2 things you can start before this day is over. What comes next is the habit that gut health researchers are only now beginning to connect directly to belly fat, and it has been sitting in the Japanese breakfast bowl every single morning for hundreds of years. Habit number 3, miso shiru. Miso shiru is the Japanese term for miso soup, and it is consumed in Japan as a morning staple the way coffee is consumed in the Western world. Every single day, without exception, before almost anything else enters the body. Now here is what most people do not know about it. Traditional miso is a fermented soybean paste, and fermentation means it is loaded with live probiotic bacteria. The same category of bacteria that your gut microbiome depends on to regulate inflammation, hormone production, and fat metabolism. The science coming out of gut health research over the last decade has made one thing increasingly clear. The composition of your gut bacteria directly influences how your body processes and stores fat. People with a less diverse gut microbiome have measurably higher rates of abdominal fat storage, not because of what they eat, because of what is missing inside them. The gut does not just digest your food. It communicates with your fat cells. It influences your cortisol output. It regulates leptin, which is the hormone responsible for telling your brain that you are full and do not need to keep eating. When your gut bacteria are depleted or imbalanced, the entire fat regulation system goes quiet. You store more. You feel hungrier. The belly fat stays put no matter what you do on the outside. A daily bowl of miso soup in the morning introduces live bacterial cultures into your gut before the day has even started. It also contains compounds called isoflavones that research has connected to reductions in visceral fat specifically, the deep abdominal fat that wraps around your organs and resists almost every conventional fat loss approach. You do not need to overhaul your breakfast. You need to add 1 cup. Real miso, not the instant packet that has been pasteurized and stripped of everything that makes it work. The live culture version, stirred into water that is warm but not boiling, because high heat kills the probiotics before they can reach your gut. 1 cup, every morning, 30 days. Pay attention to what changes. Habit number 4, karada wo ugokasu. This translates directly as move the body, and it sounds deceptively simple until you understand what it actually means in the context of how Japanese people move through their entire day, not just their workout window. In the Western world, most people sit for 8 to 10 hours and then exercise for 30 to 60 minutes and quietly consider themselves active. Researchers studying metabolic health have found that this pattern, long, unbroken sedentary periods followed by a single concentrated exercise session, keeps your body in a fat storage state for the majority of the day, regardless of how intense that workout was. Your metabolism does not respond only to exercise. It responds to movement frequency. How often you move matters more than how hard you move in one session. Japanese daily life is structured around constant low-level movement, woven into every single hour. Walking to train stations instead of driving. Taking stairs without framing it as a workout. Standing while waiting. Moving between rooms with purpose. Stretching during natural pauses. None of it is what anyone in Japan would call exercise. All of it is karada wo ugokasu, moving the body as a continuous background behavior rather than a scheduled performance. What this does to your metabolism is keep something called NEAT elevated throughout the entire day. NEAT stands for non-exercise activity thermogenesis. It is the energy your body burns through every movement that is not formal exercise. For most adults over 35, NEAT accounts for significantly more daily energy burn than any gym session will. And when you sit completely still for hours at a stretch, NEAT drops to nearly zero. Not because you are lazy, because your body interprets prolonged stillness as a signal to conserve. The habit here is not to exercise more. It is to stop sitting still for so long at a time. Stand every 45 minutes. Walk while you are on the phone. Take the longer entrance. Choose the stairs without making it a decision. Make movement the background of your day, rather than the highlight of it. That one shift will move your metabolism more than adding a second workout ever could. We have 4. One more. And this last one is going to explain something you have felt in your body for years without ever having the words for it. Stay right here because this is the one nobody is saying out loud. Habit number 5, shikata ga ne. This is the most powerful habit on this entire list, and it has nothing to do with food or movement or sleep. Shikata ga ne is a Japanese phrase that translates roughly as it cannot be helped. This is how things are. It is not resignation. It is not weakness. It is a deeply practiced cultural philosophy of acknowledging what cannot be changed and deliberately releasing your emotional hold on it. And the reason it belongs on a list about belly fat is not philosophical, it is entirely physiological. Chronic psychological stress is one of the most direct and most consistently underestimated drivers of abdominal fat in adults over 35. When your body is under sustained psychological pressure, your adrenal glands produce cortisol continuously. And cortisol at chronically elevated levels sends one clear message to your fat cells. Store. Store centrally. Store around the midsection where the body can access it fastest in an emergency. Your body cannot tell the difference between being chased by something dangerous and being anxious about your mortgage or your health or your job or your weight. All of it registers as a survival threat. And your body responds to every one of those threats the same way, by holding on to belly fat as emergency fuel. Japanese culture does not eliminate stress. No culture does. But it has a deeply embedded psychological mechanism for releasing the grip on stress rather than dragging it forward into the next hour and the next day and the next year. Shikata ga ne is that mechanism. It is the practiced decision to stop adding emotional fuel to something you cannot change in this moment. And what that decision does to your cortisol output over time is real and measurable. The chronic elevation begins to fall. The fat storage signal quiets. This is part of the reason you can find people in Japan who eat moderately, sleep well, move throughout their day, and stay lean well into their 60s and 70s without fighting for it. They are not running harder. They are carrying less. The practice here is simple, but it takes repetition. Once a day, name one thing you are holding stress about that you have no power to change today. Say it. Then say shikata ga nai out loud, and make a conscious decision to set it down until tomorrow. Not forever, just today. Your nervous system will register that release. Your cortisol will begin to reflect it. And your body will gradually stop treating your midsection like an emergency reserve that needs to be protected at all costs. Now look at all 5 together. Hara Hachi Bu closes the insulin gap that keeps your fat cells locked. Ofuro triggers the overnight growth hormone release that burns belly fat while you sleep. Miso Shiru rebuilds the gut system that regulates how and where your body stores fat. Karada wo ugokasu keeps your metabolism running throughout the entire day instead of for 1 hour and then nothing. And shikata ganai removes the chronic stress signal that has been quietly instructing your body to hold on to every pound it can find. None of these are a diet. None of them are a new exercise program. Not one of them asks you to be perfect or consistent from day one. Every single one of them targets a system inside your body that has been quietly working against you, and that no one thought to mention. Here is what to do with this right now. Do not try all 5 at once. Pick the one that hit you the hardest. The one where you thought, I have never once done that. That is the gap your body has been sitting in. Start there. Just one. This week. Give it space to work before you add another. Small and real will always beat ambitious and abandoned. You already know that. You have tried the other way. If this explains something that no one else has been willing to say plainly, send it to one person who needs to hear it. Someone who has been doing everything right and still has nothing to show for it. They need to know the problem was never their willpower. Drop in the comments which habit you are starting first. I read every single one. See you in the next one.